Hello, welcome back to GOT. Today we're going to put the Honor Magic V5 against the Pixel Fold. Yes, I said the Pixel Fold. A lot of folks have been asking me, why have you not pitted this up against the Pixel 10 Pro Fold yet? Well, we're going to cover that in this video. Let's go. Now, we know when the new Pixel 10 phones came out, the Pixel 10 Pro came out right away, so I did get that phone, and the Pixel Fold didn't come out for another 2 months. So now that it's out, I will do a comparison with the Honor Magic V5 against the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I did not get the 10 Pro Fold, not enough change to make it worth it, even for this reviewer. But not to worry, I will cover all the differences between the Pixel Fold 9 and 10 and what might have changed between the competition with the Honor Magic V5. Now, start off with looking at the look and feel. They both feel pretty premium in the hand. I will say that I think the Honor Magic is a bit more premium. I will explain this ring here a little later. And then I think it looks a little more premium just because of the coloring and everything, so I do like it a bit more as far as that goes. As far as the camera bump, they are both pretty obvious. The Honor Magic V5 is a much bigger bump, but there is a reason for that, and we'll talk about those cameras here in a little bit. So as you can see here, the Pixel 9 Pro is a little bit wider than the Honor Magic V5, but the Honor Magic V5, when you look it down here on the table, is a little bit taller. When I compare them in size, it's just a slight bit taller. I think you could possibly see that there. So it's a little bit bigger phone because this is a 6.4-inch screen versus a 6.3. Now the Pixel 10 Pro is a 6.4, so it's a little bit larger, but not for any other reason other than they made the border a little slimmer on the Pixel 10 Pro versus this one. So this was quite thick. The new one on the 10 is a lot more narrow, similar to that of the OnePlus Open, as you can see right here in the overhead. So by making the bezel a little bit smaller on the Pixel 10, that is nothing revolutionary. This phone is nearly 3 years old and they had it better built. Now, the hinge on the new Pixel 10 Pro is a little better built, a little more solid and than this one, and of course with a lot less bezel. So I think that's an improvement on the 10. But even so, if we compare that to the Honor Magic V5 bezel, even if I bring over here the OnePlus Open, you can see it beats the OnePlus Open. It's even a smaller bezel than that. So as far as bezel goes, even with the 10, Honor Magic's got a better bezel-less screen. Plus, even on the 10, you do have this additional corner, as you can see here in the image I'm putting on the table. So this is a lot better screen all the way around. And when you turn it on, you can see that right there, that there is no big edges around the corners. So then laying these two sit side by side here with the Open, you can see that they're about the same size. It actually looks like the Honor Magic is taller, so it makes it look larger, but it's not. This is an 8-inch in diameter, where this is a 7.95 in diameter. So the Pixel is a little bit larger screen, but it's not something you can really tell. And then when you look at this, look at the crease in the phone, you can see it. It's pretty prevalent in the Pixel, where it's not so much in the Honor Magic. It's hard to find it and see it on the Honor Magic compared to the Pixel. The Pixel shows up real easy on screen. Maybe not so much today, but it is the crease on the Pixel. And the Pixel 10 Pro, not much change from what I could tell. It's the same. Now going back to the outside of these phones, you can see here they both have a speaker on both sides. So this is on this side, and when you flip it over, it changes to the other side, which is really nice. So when you have them open, you've always got stereo sound coming out the sides. And of course, if you look at them, you can see that the Honor Magic V5 is a bit thinner, and it's about a lot lighter, as you can see here on the screen. Now they both have the side-mounted fingerprint sensor. You just touch it, and then they both turn on real easy like that. And I believe they're just as fast as one another. Now, moving on to the software. Now, they both have Android. This is Android 15 versus Android 16 in the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, or in the 10 Pro Fold. They're already up to 16. And what's really great about that is it's always up to date because it is a Pixel. They're the first ones to get the beta. They're the first one to supposedly get the actual version. And with all my other foldables, the Honor Magic and the OnePlus Open were the first ones actually to get the update as well, aside from the Pixel. They got them back in December this last year. So there's not a whole lot of delay on them getting the updates. Now, as I talked about before in other videos, the Pixel, they could do more of a simplistic setup. You can't do the larger formatted apps like you can on this one, where you can enlarge these and shrink them and shape them any way you want. You can't do that on the Pixel. The Pixel, you could just have your folders or no folders. That's basically it. And you are stuck with a weather and the bar on the bottom. You cannot customize that whatsoever. Where on the Honor Magic, you can do all kinds of customization, and you can see that 3D page turn. It's just, I really like it. Now you can do some additional customizing on the Pixel here with this Material 3, so you can do some additional setup. I'm not going to go into that. That would be another video, but you can do some customizing, but nowhere near as much as you can on the Honor. Then of course they both have the news feed on the side. They're both really smooth as far as that goes. Now, as far as screen brightness on both of them, you have 2000 nit brightness with 3000 peak on the exterior display, where you have 5000 peak on the exterior on the Honor, and on the inside display of the Pixel, it can go up to 3000, but it's 1800 standard. And on the Honor as well, it's 1800 standard, but supposedly you can go up to 5000 nits. Now, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't look a whole lot different on the inside for me, or on the outside, actually, even outside. But here on the inside, you could see that they both do well. Now, if we look at the inner screen, this one has a protective coating on it, so it's not quite as reflective as the Pixel. The Pixel is extremely reflective, as you could probably see here. If you look at that light there and then pick this one up and do the same thing, see how it's just a little bit dimmer. So you've got an anti-reflective coating on the Honor. You do not have that on the Pixel. Now, as far as multitasking on both of them, there's a clear difference, but to begin with, they can both do 2 apps open at the same time, so that's not an issue whatsoever. Now, if you want to add another app on the Honor Magic, you could do it from anywhere. You could take this, you could touch that. Now I have a floater going on right here on my screen, so if I got a text message, I can check on it and it'll pop to the side there. Or if I want to, I can just take a gallery here and I can add it, and it'll add the app there. So now I have 3 apps on the screen open up at the same time, so that's pretty nifty here. On the Pixel, you can't do that. All you can do is open up 2 at a time. And so the Pixel over here does not come with a sidebar, but there's an app you can get. It's called Edge 1 that I use, has a sidebar, but it will not let you drag any apps out into the screen. You could tap them and it'll take over the whole screen. That's all that really is good for, is a quick reference to grab to another app. So then if you do want to change this app, you got to go down here. You can go here. Let's open up ChatGPT. You could take it and you could drag it over there and replace it that way. So that's the only thing you could do here. Here you don't have to do that. You can just grab either from the side menu or from a bottom menu and replace whatever apps you want. So I could take and drag the phone right up in there if I want to. So there's all kinds of things that you could do for multitasking. That's about all I really want to cover on that. But that's not necessarily a negative, because a lot of multitasking you really just do with 2 screens, 2 apps at the same time. So the Pixel is sufficient for that. And I do want to talk about widgets a little bit. Here you can add widgets on the Pixel. So when you use widgets on the Pixel, you can put them in there, and they're not stackable. You can just put in a widget here and use it like there's a different weather app instead of using Pixel's weather app here. You know, you can use your own, and there's the calendar there. It's connected to their app, or of course their bar here, which just opens up another app to do your search, which bugs me. Over here, you can actually stack widgets. See there? Got stackable widgets, which is really nice. And of course, you can reshape them, do anything you want. Over here on the Pixel, not so much. So again, the Pixel just kind of follows the line of the iPhone. You know, it's just what it is. And if you're just fine with using what they give you, then you're going to love the phone, because it's pretty simple. There's not a lot of complication to it. Now on both of them, of course, you can go into YouTube video, pretty much the same. For some reason, the Pixel sets it up like it's a tablet, okay, where you can see kind of a phone format still on the Honor Magic, where it's all just one row, where here it splits it up like a tablet. So I kind of like that a little bit better here. So you can see a lot larger aspect ratio of each of the thumbnails. So I kind of like that, you know. And then we can just click on a video here, and you can see they both go top shelf there to play, and they're about the same. Of course, the Pixel at this aspect ratio is a little bit wider, so it does give us a little bit larger. Let's go ahead and listen to the audio.
My Pixel Fold, and then I gave you my first impression, and then I went on a 3-day or 4-day actually weekend and took my Pixel watch.
So that's pretty bassy, pretty loud.
But I forgot the new charging cable that came with it. And this is a unique charging cable, so you cannot charge it to review it and see how it worked. But guess what? I forgot the new charging cable that came with it. And this is a unique charging cable. Without it, you have to have that specific OEM charger, and this does not charge on the back of your phone.
Okay, I believe there's just a slight bit more bass to the Pixel, and that's because it is a little thicker. It's got a bigger echo chamber. So there's a little bit more bass, but really they're both just as loud as each other, both just as compatible. But let's go ahead and go out of the app, and you can see here, here's something that's different, and this is something that Mag has kind of stolen from Apple or other manufacturers. Right here, look at this. This is the now playing bar. You have it showing up here in the background. On the Pixel, there's nothing like that, but if you do slide down, you can see it's right there in its control panel. So if you want to continue playing it here, on this one, you slide down and it's still on the control panel as well. You can actually slide down from this side and just have your controls. It's also there. This is your notifications panel, and on the Pixel, notifications panel as well as the control panel all come down at the same time. Now, some people are on team, I want to see it all, where me, I like to be able to split it up. So go from side to side or swipe from side to side like so. On the Pixel, it's just all there at once on both sides. Now let's talk a little bit about the cameras, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but they both do have good cameras. Pixel has better cameras, I think, than most foldables, other than the Honor Magic V5 and another one that you might be familiar with, which is the Vivo X Fold 5, which it can't be beat as far as its cameras go. I'm just going to try to show you, see if I can show you the functionality of these cameras. With it open, you open up the camera and you have a full camera here, and you can split it in half. Then it gives you controls on the bottom and then the camera view on the top. As you can see here, see if I can open it up enough so you can see. And then same with this one, you do the same thing and you fold it up, and you can see you've got your screen right there on the front and the controls right down here on the bottom. The difference is on the Honor, you have a much larger preview here of what you've taken than you do on the Pixel. So let's just take a photo here. You can see here, and you have the preview of the photo here. You could pick it up and it appears there. You don't really even have to click on it here because you can see it right there. It's there. Then you just slide to the side to go backwards. And then on this one, if you switch over here to camera, so now I'm on video, and I can switch to video over here, and you have video, and of course you can start recording on both of them. You can record video and do all that stuff right from this control, which is really nice. The difference is, let's say, okay, I need to take a break from taking a photo real quick, so I'm going to do something else. I'm going to close this out, and I was on video, right? So I want to go back. Okay, I want to go back in and continue my video. I click on video. It went back to photo on the Pixel, where I'm still on video on the Magic V5. Now, that may seem like something small to you, but the Honor Magic, you can set it up to save your last setting. So last time you were open it, it'll stay where you were at. So if I was on photos and I close up the app and then I open up the app again, I'm back on photos. If I'm on photos here, or if I'm on video here, I close up the app, I go back, it goes to photos. Now, if you want to always stay on photo, that's fine. But let's say I'm in portrait, I'm taking some portrait shots. I close it up, I open it up, it goes back to photo. That's just a small little thing that Pixel can fix, and it just bugs me. You know, there should be a setting in there to save last known settings. Because believe it or not, for me, because I do so much, I've lost taking some images or videos because I opened it up, thought I was continuing a video, and all I did was snap a picture, and then I completely lost it. So all this to say that Pixel is lacking some just common sense features that they could put in these phones. So as far as camera specs go on both of these, are really not a lot of comparison with except for the main camera. The main camera on this one is a 48 megapixel on the Pixel 9 Pro and 10 Pro Fold, and on the Honor Magic it's a 50 megapixel. And then when you go to the zoom on this is a 10.8 megapixel zoom. It's 5 times, but it's only 10.8. Where this is a 3 times zoom, but it's 64 megapixels. That's a huge difference. Now, they both use computational AI to improve the photos, and which one you decide does better, you know, that's totally up to you. But I just don't think you can compensate for that 10 megapixel versus 64. And then on the ultra wide, again, this one's a 50 megapixel versus another 10.8 ultra wide, or I think it's a 10.5 ultra wide on the Pixel. So AI assisting those photos just can't do enough to really compete, I think, with the Honor Magic. And then the selfie cameras on both of them are 10 megapixels on the inside out on this one, on the Pixel, and 20 megapixels on the Honor Magic V5, both inside and out. Now I'll just go ahead and show you some photo comparisons between the two, and you can make your choice on which one you like better. All right, as you can see here, I got the Honor Magic V5 here on the left and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold on the right. I've taken a photo from each camera from every photo length and lens just to compare them. As you can see here, this is side by side. This is just the standard 1:1 shot here on, you have a 48 megapixel here on the Pixel, and you can see that size of that photo is 6.1 megabytes, and it's a 400 by 300 in pixel size. And over here on the Honor Magic V5, same thing, but look at that. It's a much larger photo size. It's capturing a lot more detail. It's a 50 megapixel versus a 48. But you see, they both look really good. I think the Pixel is a little more washed out. You get a little bit more color and actually what it looked like outside, because it was a very gloomy kind of dark afternoon. So it looks like I see a lot more detail anyway on my screen with the Honor Magic V5. Let's go to the next one. The next one I just did it 2 times, and I believe the 2 times is just cropping in on the main lens on both of these. And you can see they're both very competitive, but actually look like the Honor Magic is a little bit brighter on this one, which is kind of odd. But you can see here that they're both doing really well. But you can see the size of the photo dropped. It's 3.2 on the Pixel, same image size. And then here it's 9.9 on the Honor Magic. So it's still a larger file, probably a little more detail. And you can see actually more detail here on the stones and such. And I'm sure if we cropped in, we could see a little bit more. Let's go ahead and crop in a couple. 1, 2, and we'll just crop in a couple here. And you can see and compare them. You know, did this one get a little more blurry? I think it blurred just a little bit more. You can look at his there compared to his on this side. So the Honor Magic V5, I think, is still just a little bit clear. Look at the leaves. You know, they're very close, very competitive. I wouldn't really rate one really that much better than the other on this one. Now we're going to go with a 3 times. This is a 3 times. Now, I believe they both have a 3-time dedicated lens. And so, well, actually, no, the Pixel does not. It's a 5-time dedicated lens. So the Honor Magic is using its 3 times dedicated. So that's probably why it's a lot better here. And then on the Pixel, it is still kind of washed out. So you do get a little more color and detail here on the Honor. And I think you can just see that it's simply because it is that dedicated lens. Now, the next one, it should flip, because on the Pixel, this is a dedicated 5 times zoom lens. Of course, it's only 10 megapixel. Where here on the Honor Magic, this is a 6 times zoom. It's a crop, but it's supposed to be a lossless crop. So you're not supposed to really be losing much detail. And you can see that a lot more color. You can see, I think, a lot more detail on everything here in this image. And if we just go ahead and crop in a couple, you can see here at his word, it's still a little bit, everything's still a little bit clearer here on the Honor. Now, you may like the brighter image here, but you can see you lose stuff here on the leaf and such on the Pixel. So I think the Honor Magic is still taking it on this one, although you may have a personal preference of, a lighter color. And let's go to the next one. This next one is a 10 times. Actually, yeah, the other one I just cropped. So I was wondering why it didn't look different. So this is actual a 10 times, and you can see here again the Honor Magic, because it has a 64 megapixel lens. What can you do with a 10 megapixel when you really start zooming in? You get a little bit more detail here on the Honor Magic. And as you can see here, I took a shot of the sky just to see how they both did. And again, the pixel's a little bit brighter. You can see here in the leaves, a little less shadow on the Pixel, which is nice. And then same with the fence. It's not quite as dark. But then you have the sky here that is washing out a little bit where the sun's starting to peek through versus the Honor Magic V5. And then I think you can see a little bit more detail in the clouds here on the Honor Magic V5 where so the range is a little bit better on the Honor Magic V5. So this is the daylight shots between the two. You choose what you like better. So I took some night shots real quick on both of them, and I think they even got water on the lenses a little bit, but you can see here, they both did pretty good. The Pixel, again, a little brighter, and I kind of like it here at night than the Pixel. But the clarity, I don't know. It's really hard to say. They're both using, you got a 50 megapixel here on the Honor Magic and a 48 megapixel on the Pixel. And then I went ahead and zoomed in the 5 times on the Pixel and the 6 times on the Honor Magic. And it looks like the Pixel actually did really well on this 5 times. So you got a 10 megapixel camera here, actually doing really well at 5 times versus the 6 times digital image here on the Honor Magic. So I think the Pixel actually held its own on this one. So that's good on the Pixel. Now let's talk about the other specs of these phones. The battery. The battery on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is like 4,600 milliamps, just above that, where you have 5,820 on the Honor Magic V5. Quite a big difference. This will easily outlast the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Pixel 10 Pro Fold, they bumped up the battery to 5,015, I believe. So it's a little bit larger battery, but I don't think it's going to outperform this one. And then, of course, you have the chip inside, which is the Tensor 5, the new chip this year, versus the Snapdragon 8 Elite. And this one, just there's no comparison. I'm not even going to bother doing some bench tests on this because it just completely wipes it out. Now, another thing about this is charging. You know, you have fast charging on the Honor Magic. You use 66 watts plugged in or 50 watts wireless. Where on the original Pixel here Fold is 30 watts wired, or they say 7.5 watts wireless, but I can't really find that anywhere. I think it's still 15 because it seems to be better than 7.5. But the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, we do know has 30 watt wired charging and 15 watt wireless. And what that means is you can actually plug it in and you can charge it wireless. And it has that Pixel Snap magnetic ring built into the phone. Now that's where this comes in, this ring. This does the same thing for $2. I got a metal ring. I can slap it right there on a charger, as you can see here. And you can see it's lighting up green. It is charging. So that's not an issue if you want to turn your Pixel 9 Pro Fold into a wireless charger with the mag or snap. You could just get yourself a ring, put it on there. And then, of course, it works with these things too. So you can actually put one of these rings on it and hold it as well. And it makes it really nice because you can stand up the phone like so with these rings. So no need for me to upgrade to a Pixel 10 just to have that magnetic wireless charging or Pixel Snap. Now you can actually wirelessly charge the Honor Magic V5 the same way. There is no magnets in here, but it rests on my the shelf here real nicely, and it will start charging. As you can see right there, it's charging right on there. Now, if I wanted to, I could put one of those little metal rings in there to charge it up, but I rarely charge this thing anyway, and when I do, I rather just plug it in because with that 66 watt charging, this thing is fully charged for me most of the time within 15-20 minutes, and it'll charge from 0 to 100% in about 45. So I know this entire video sounds like I've been coming down hard on the Pixel. Well, I kind of am, simply because Pixel or Google, they make Android. They make everything for these phones that we use. Why don't they come up and be a little more competitive, especially with the software, and even now being in their 3rd gen phone? Why aren't they improving some of the specs, such as charging and battery life? And we know Samsung's struggling with the same thing. But I'm truly thinking, and you can mark my words right now, I think that next year things are going to change with batteries and charging on these devices, simply because Apple's coming out with theirs, and they're going to try to do what they can to really bust into the foldable market. And the rest of them are going to try and play catch up with Apple if that is the case. Okay, now it's time to hear from you. What do you think? Did Pixel do enough to really warrant upgrading the Pixel 9 Pro Fold to the 10 Pro Fold? Did they do enough to earn your business to get a Fold from Pixel to begin with, especially with the new lineup that the Z Fold came out with the Z Fold 7 and all the changes they put in it? And do you already have the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, and there's something that I really missed that is a huge advantage to the Pixel 10 Pro Fold over everything else. If there's something else you'd like to see or like me to compare, let me know down in the comments. Now, I actually did do a video comparing the Pixel Fold to the Z Fold 7. If you want to check that out, here it is here. And of course, I have a whole lot more on my channel comparing all these different phones. So if you don't want to miss those, subscribe and browse my video library. Until next time, have a wonderful day and God bless.